And now you're talking about the impossibility, if I get you right. And now the population of the Northwest and Southwest regions are calling for a ceasefire and equally dialogue. But the government is doing nothing. There are national and international calls, but the government is still silent. And now, for how long will these children continue staying in the bushes, back home, not educated?
Well, you know, education could be formal or informal. It could be anything. It doesn't necessarily mean sitting in a classroom. But what is all the education on earth with death? In other words, what is an educated PhD professor doing in the grave soon after they acquire the certificates or in the process of doing so? So it's not feasible. You talked about I won't use the word impossible. I say not plausible. It's implausible. It's not a plausible option. And you said the government has been told to dialogue. They don't want. Why? They are running away from simple debates. And the debate is clear and it's going to hold. The problem is that, you know, poverty, for example, the pauperization that has been imposed on the people of Southern Cameroon since April 1961 is not an accident. It's just like slavery, apartheid, colonization, or territorial thievery, or stealing of a land, like in the case of Southern Cameroon. It's not by accident. It is man-made. And what people must do is that they must understand that people can still remove all these ills. And Southern Cameroonians, in my opinion, appear to have understood that determination can do a lot of things and it can overcome. So I think these people are determined to have the counterparts, like Republic of Cameroon, come on a table and talk this matter. There is no way out. Unfortunately, we have our brothers who today now jump all over the place with federalism in their mouth, as though they could say the same things in 2017. Do not forget that Southern Cameroonians have fought, bled, they have died, some are in exile, in the prison, in the bushes, so that federalists can start jumping like grasshoppers in December, preaching a kind of sermon that provides enablement for the more maiming, more torture, and more killing of Southern Cameroonians. You see, what we are supposed to do is sit down and talk this issue. Exactly the information and the message coming from the international community. You cannot run away from the problem. The problem is already not on the surface. It is floating in the air. You must sit and address it. So I would say it is not impossible, but it's not plausible.
You're right, it is a long-term option, something that will last long, that will enhance peace to be lasting in Cameroon. But we are just a few weeks to the start of classes of the 2019-2020 academic year. And yet, many people still find it very difficult to believe if dialogue can take place within this short period of time, and equally enhancement of ceasefire for pupils and students to go back to school.
Yeah.
Is it possible for us to start talking about dialogue and ceasefire now, 2 weeks to school resumption?
No, that can happen even in 24 hours. It can happen in 30 minutes. We don't have long things to talk about. What is going to take long is the negotiations of many things that have happened in the past 57 years. But talking about what Southern Cameroonians are up to is 30 minutes. It's a simple question. Were we due for independence as per Resolution 1608? Yes. Was Resolution 1514 did Resolution 1514 provide that the instruments of governance be given back to the people that were colonized in the first place? Yes. Was that done? No. That is 3 minute debate. That one will be finished in 3 minutes. So it can happen in 24 hours. You know, I saw on TV students, pupils, and parents saying that they will not send their children to school. Why? Because they have been radicalized. To be radicalized is grasping information and everything by their roots. So they have come to the realization that they cannot go to school in war. This is simple. Why is there war? I'm sure everybody knows why there is war. It was declared on a people who stood up to march with peace plans. Today we have people taking millions of taxpayers' money in jeeps, holding some peace plans outside the window. Look at all those campaigning for. Why do you campaign for school return in the first place? Because you have something in your cupboard. Look at those campaigning. They go in bulletproof vests in armored cars. So after they leave, how do the children go to school? So what are they afraid of? Or who are they afraid of? So I think, yes, school could return and this thing could be ironed out even in 24 hours, in my opinion. Maximum 72 hours, we can trash this conversation if La Republique is willing to sit on the table, but I think they're not willing.
And, well, we have separatist fighters too, who have initiated 2 separate lockdowns of the Anglophone regions. We have the first, that is to begin, if I can quote it, that's the 2nd of September to the 6th, that's during school resumption, and equally the 2nd from the 9th to the 13th of September. That means if you follow the communique, they are saying schools cannot resume while the armed conflict continues, or while the area is still insecure. How do you embrace this?
Yeah, well, using the word embrace, I would say, how will I analyze that? I saw those communiques online, and we know that the restoration forces have locked down that territory, I think 3 times, and they have imposed ghost town for 3 years altogether, and government officials obey those ghost towns and the lockdowns. So I think it is something that nobody should take for granted, and we must be alert, we must stay at alarm. I wouldn't go out on those days.
Okay. Thank you so much, Abdul Karim Ali, for coming.
Thanks for having me, and God bless you.